develop resources is to invest. So what is investment? Write it down again. Investment is a commitment to develop my resources. Investment is a commitment to develop my resources. So when you meet somebody who will not invest, that means they will not develop their resources. When you meet somebody that will not invest, that means that they are not committed to developing their resources. People ask me all the time, how much does that cost? It's like, how much is that doggy in the window? No. Listen, there is no cost, but yet there is an investment. There is no cost, but yet there is an investment. All we do as entrepreneurs is we allow people the opportunity to invest in themselves through the products and services that we offer. All we do as entrepreneurs is allow people to invest in their businesses through the products and services that we offer. All we do as entrepreneurs is allow people to invest in their lives through the products and services that we offer. An investment is nothing more than a commitment to develop resources. Where there's no investment, there's no appreciation. Where there's no appreciation, right, there's no stewardship. Where there's no stewardship, there is no access to more. You ain't getting any more than what you already have because you didn't do anything what God gave you to begin with. And so we learned yesterday that a fool and his money is soon parted. But then we did a remix on it. And what we learned is what they really meant is that a fool and his resources is soon parted. Why? Because a fool is consumptive. A fool is a person who wants to consume that which is given rather than develop that which they already have. And so a fool, write it down, a fool is consumptive, right? Let me tell y'all something. I do not suffer fools. Hashtag, I do not suffer fools. Everybody write it. That's your new affirmation. When they come up to you and try to get something for free, tell them, I do not suffer fools. By the way, it's going to be some people that's offended. Great, because I'm trying to get you off the phone. Because let me tell you something. A fool and a person who wants something for free is the same person. A fool and a person who wants something for free is the same person. Why? Because a person who wants something for free wants to consume that which is given rather than develop that which they have. A fool is the person that wants to consume that which you gave them rather than develop that which you gave them. A fool has no commitment to developing their resources. A fool and his resources are soon parted. A fool and his money is soon parted. Why? Very simply put, a fool and his money is soon parted.
And Trevor, if I can jump in just for 1 second. Mic check, mic check. They're looking at it right now, Trevor, looking at it over at BlackCEOtribe.com. They're seeing a slide, a fool and his money is soon parted. Look, it's Trevor speaking right now. I'm not sure if you can see it, but Trevor, as they're speaking, and they're over at BlackCEO Tribe right now. Maybe they're on your page at mic check. They can see a fool and his money is soon parted. Go ahead and write that down. Go ahead and look right below the notes right now. Look right below the video. If you're over at BlackCEOtribe.com, go ahead and write down a fool and his money is soon parted. That's where we are right now. The fool and his money is soon parted. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Trevor, because the big question came up on the slide was why? It came up and said, like, why? Just like 3 letters. Why? I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to you. But look, I'm going to ask you out there as you're taking notes, I'm going to ask all of our digital note takers out there that are working every day and putting the notes on the digital board. You have an opportunity to pay it forward. Coming back to you, Trevor, you have an opportunity to pay it forward. And you can look right below the video, or if you're over at BlackCEOtribe.com, go ahead and write those notes and then take the notes as Trevor's followed along. Pay it forward to someone that's listening to the podcast, someone that's listening to the broadcast, someone that's listening to the conference call. With that being said, a fool and his money is soon parted. Going over to you, E.R. Spalding.
No. I'm not done. I'm not done. We're going to get this thing right.
Right, but hold on 1 second, Trevor, because we've got some individuals that are trying to get inside of the Black CEO group. I'm seeing member requests there. So our admins who are trailing us, if we can go ahead and make sure that we're approving those individuals, because there are several people that are trying to become a part of this very important conversation. There are individuals right now that are attempting to become a part of this very important conversation. So our admins who are listening, go ahead and approve recruit some more Black CEOs who are looking to be #revenue champions. Over to you, Trevor.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's get back to it, folks, because a lot of you, it's in your heart. You have been the person that has sought things for free. In your heart, we have let people come through the back door of free for us, and we think that we're helping them. A fool and his money is soon parted. A fool and his resource is soon parted. Why? Because a fool is consumptive. Why? Because a fool is a person who wants to consume that which you gave them more so than they want to develop that which you gave them. A fool will not invest. A fool has no commitment to develop resources. A fool and a person who wants something for free is the same person. Hear me, y'all. Stop letting people creep through the back door of free. Stop creeping through the back door of free that of people that you value. Why? Because it lacks integrity. Stop creeping through the back door of free with people that you value, because it lacks integrity and it makes you a fool. Why? Because it means that you have no commitment to develop the resources. I will not suffer fools. Repeat it after me. I will not suffer fools. Write it. I will not suffer fools. A fool and a person who wants something for free is the same person. Write it down. A fool is consumptive. A fool is a person who will not commit to developing his or her own resources. So you know that they're not going to commit to developing the resource that you're about to give them. Stop letting people creep through the back door free on you. You got to put that to an end. See, here's the thing, is that when you keep giving people something that is a resource without requiring a commitment to develop that resource, that's called the investment, then what you did was you set them up. Yeah, I know. We've all heard it. The number one consumers in the world is African American. And what they talk about is our quote unquote buying power. The hell with our buying power. I don't want no buying power. I want some developmental power. Let me tell y'all something. Buying black is good. Developing black is better. Write it. Buying black is good. Developing black is better. All y'all that's on this call right now, all of y'all that see the graphic in the bottom that says BlackCEO Business School, listen, it's the school where you learn how to develop your resources. Buying black is good. Buying black is great. Developing black is better. We got to develop our resources. And by the way, this concept of generational wealth, I'm going to get so wealthy that I'm going to pass it on to the next person. Listen, you can't pass on wealth. You can pass on resources. You can pass on riches, because what happens is when you give a resource like money, houses, intellect, gifts, talents, whatever it is you want to give them, the inheritance, when you give it to them, they have the responsibility to develop the resource that you gave them. And you, as the father, the grandfather, the auntie, the great uncle, you can't develop their resources for them. You can't take over the responsibility for them. If you give your son $50 million a day, will he be rich? Yes, but he will not be wealthy. He will only be wealthy if he develops the resource that you gave him, which was the money. And so if you give him $50 million and 10 years later, you return and he still has the same $50 million, he is as broke that day as the day that you gave him the money. Why? Because the opposite of wealth is not poor. The opposite of wealth is underdeveloped resources. Wealth is the manifestation of resources developed. You don't develop your resources, I don't care who you are. I don't care what family you come from. You could be Kim Kardashian. You could be Kanye West's daughter. It don't matter. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, you got a responsibility to develop the resources. Everybody repeat after me. Everybody write it in the group. I must develop my resources. Hashtag. I must develop my resources. Wealth is the manifestation of resources developed. You ain't here because you're trying to get some Facebook likes. You ain't here because you like my pretty face. You ain't here because you just here to click and let's see what's happening. You here to develop your resources. By the way, I know we're not supposed to talk about church in here, but let me tell you what the Bible says. The Bible says, hey, be fruitful and multiply. You know what that means? Let me tell you what it means. When it says be fruitful and multiply, what it's really trying to tell you is that you got to replace and replenish the resources that you take out of this place. You got to replace and replenish the resources that you take out of this place. And if you don't, you are consumptive. And if you don't, it's because you didn't invest. And if you don't, investment is the commitment to develop resources. So it means you didn't invest. And if you don't, it means that you will take more out of this world than you put back into it. I will not suffer fools. A fool and a person who wants something for free is the same person. Stop creeping through the back door free with people that you value. It lacks integrity. And it's not the integrity to the person, it's the integrity to the resources that God gave you. Oh, by the way, while we're talking about the resources, you know what? They say that in many texts, it says that God will grant you the desires of your heart. How can he guarantee that? Here's how. The desires of your heart, God gave everybody a gift. He gave you one, too. Gave me one, too. Gave ER one, too. Gave Barrett one, too. Gave Dakisha one, too. And what happens is that gift that God gave you, it's a resource. And when you develop it, the manifestation of that gift, the manifestation of you developing that gift will create something that's in alignment with you, with alignment with the desires of your heart. And that will be your first manifestation of wealth. That's why everybody can get the desires of your heart. That's why everybody might not want 6 figures. Everybody might not want 7 figures. Shay Brown said that the results that show up in your life is just as important as the results that show up in your bank account. Somebody hashtag that. The results that show up in your life are just as important as the results that show up in your bank account. I'm telling you right now, guaranteed, you don't develop your resources, you're going to be poor. Because it's going to be a reflection of what you did with your resources. I like what Jamal Bryant said. Jamal Bryant said that if you don't come from a wealthy family, he said a wealthy family should come from you. Here's the thing. You have resources. Everybody does, and everybody has the ability to develop those resources to create a wealth manifestation that's in alignment with the desires of their heart. Holler if you hear, brother. Hit the like button if you hear, brother. Hit the share button if you hear, brother. By the way, if you're sitting on this call knowing how we do it at BlackCEO, when we cooperate, 1 + 1 = 2, but when we collaborate, 1 and 1 = 11, hashtag 11. If you on this call, when you know that love never fails, right? And you know that wherever love shows up, success is on the way. And if you on this call and you didn't start collaborating in love, if you didn't hit the share button, if you didn't tell your friend about it, if you didn't help somebody else break through the bondage of ignorance, shame on you. But you can be redeemed. Hit the daggone share button and stop playing around. We got work to do here. Buying black is good. Developing black is better. The only way you can pass on generational wealth, you can pass on resources, houses, and money. But the only way to create generational wealth, only one way to do it. Teach your kids, teach your offspring to develop their resources. It's the only way to pass on wealth. You can pass on money, but you can't pass on wealth. Free people will never prosper because they live in a consumptive state versus the developmental state. Last thing, before we get into the new information, because ER is going to hook y'all up. By the way, we about to throw down over the next 9 days, this 9-day challenge. We're going to throw down. Now, while we throwing down, I want everybody go to the private Facebook group, wherever you are. Put your first name, put where you from, and then tell us a little bit about your product, your service, your mission, your organization, or your brand, so we can get connected to your resource, so we can invest in your business, so that we can invest with your product, so we can invest in your service, so we can invest in your brand. Yeah, we ain't gonna be creeping through the back door free, because that's not what we do at BlackCEO. That ain't who we be. We are committed to developing your resources. I don't buy black, I develop black. So when I spend my money with you, it's so that you can develop your resources. Develop that thing into the empire. I'm not waiting for Facebook to hire me. I'm waiting for us to create the next Facebook. Develop black. Hashtag develop black. Some of y'all hear me. Last but not least, the first manifestation of wealth is never money. Write it down, get it in your soul, get it in your heart. The first manifestation of wealth is never money. The first manifestation of wealth is never money. Yesterday, we discussed the fact that LeBron James was gifted. He was physically gifted. He developed that resource, his physical gifts. He developed it in the area of basketball. And then he developed a skill for playing the game of basketball. His first manifestation of wealth was skill. The second manifestation came as a result of the fact that he started winning. And because he started winning, his second manifestation of wealth became respect, the respect of his peers. After some other manifestations, eventually he gets drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he finally gets a big paycheck. Some of y'all think he was poor prior to him getting drafted, and that's what makes you ignorant. He was never poor. He was a person that was developing his resources. The only thing that happened was that money, which is a type of wealth manifestation, had not come about yet. So some of y'all are feeling like you so poor. And because you feel like you poor, meaning you undervalue your resources, now you are willing to undersell your resources to the market because you don't realize how valuable you are. For many of you, I can tell you right now, money never shows up as the first manifestation of wealth, ever. King Solomon was the richest man that ever lived, but he was also the wisest man that ever lived. What came first, the riches or the wisdom? You know the answer. So when it comes down to looking at your business, if you realize that your bank account doesn't reflect how good you actually are, go back and check how much work you put into developing the resources. You get a coach, you get a mentor, you get a program, you get a system. Listen, I don't invest in nothing that ain't gonna help me develop my resources. You got to ask yourself first, what's my resource? Secondarily, does this help me develop my resource? Number three, what commitment is required from me to develop that resource? Because wealth is a responsibility. Wealth is a responsibility. And I'm gonna tell you, some of y'all watching this call right now, y'all frustrated. You're frustrated with your coaches. You're frustrated with your people. You're frustrated with your mentors. You're frustrated with the program. You're frustrated with being in business. But your frustration is just a manifestation of the fact that you've been fooled out of your resources. Your frustration is just a manifestation of the fact that you've been fooled out of your resources. That's why you feel overworked and underpaid. I told you, a fool and their resources is soon parted. A fool is somebody who does not know his resources, right? And does not develop his resources. So while you're here today, hashtag discover and develop. Right now, everybody, I don't care where you are. If you're under the sound of my voice, I want you to go to BlackCEOtribe.com, BlackCEOtribe.com, and type hashtag discover and develop. So some of y'all saw us officially launch the Black CEO Graphics Club. Why? Because we wanted to launch an environment where you could, what? Develop some of your resources in an optically or aesthetically pleasing way that causes people to respond to that book, that page, that product, that service that you have to offer. It was a development. It's a way for you to develop your resources. I won't spend too much time on that, but here's what I will tell you. If you want to know how to get 30 days free of the Black CEO Graphics Club, I'll tell you what I would be doing. I would be going over to BlackCEOtribe.com, and I would be saying either at ER, at Shay, or at Velton. Somebody better reach out to me. Now, it requires a commitment. Let's get to it. You pay for 1 month, you get the second month free. Why? Because I do not suffer fools. A fool and a person who wants something for free is the same person, because what they want to do is to consume that which is given to them more than they want to develop that which is given to them. So in order to be a part of Black CEO Graphics Club, it requires a commitment first, an investment first, because if we don't make you invest, we set you up. I do not teach people to be fools. We do not teach people to be consumptive, because to give you something for free is to make a fool out of you. Want everybody write this down? Get this down in your soul. Never give away a resource without requiring an investment from the person that gave it to you, lest you make them a fool. Never give away a resource without requiring an investment from the person you gave it to, lest you make them a fool. So now you understand why we did Black CEO Graphics Club the way we did it. What we wanted to do is we wanted to reward those people who were committed. I'm teaching y'all something, because some of y'all want to do 30 days free or 2 weeks free. No, ain't no testing me out for free. Sherwood said it best. Hashtag, I'm all out of free. Ain't no, you can't sample Trevor Otts. You can't sample E.R. Spalding. You can't sample Dakisha Williams. You can't sample Vanessa Collins. You can't sample me. Just imagine, ladies, if a guy walked up to you and said, can I sample you? Yeah, that's the same response that you should have when somebody asks you, do you got something for free? Don't call me. I don't suffer fools. A fool and a person who wants something for free is the same person. So the reason why we structured the plan, we said, you know what? They're going to pay for the first month, and we're going to give them the second month for free. Why? Because where there's no investment, there's no appreciation. Why? Because where there's no appreciation, there's no stewardship. Poor stewardship equals poor, period. Yeah, you go ahead and write that down. Where there's no appreciation, there's no stewardship. Where there's no investment, there's no appreciation. Where there's no appreciation, there's no stewardship. Where there's no stewardship, there's no access to more. So you ain't getting any more than what you already have, because you haven't done anything with what God already gave you. What you think the story of the 3 talents is about? It's about God gave you something. It's about the man gave the person something, and 2 people came back after developing the resources and had a profit. One person buried it and didn't have a profit, and he called that person a fool. He called that person lazy. So God give you something, somebody gives you something, a resource you don't develop it, yeah, lazy, fool. Get away from me. I will not suffer fools. As we get started and turn this over to E.R. Spalding, I want you to write down 3 affirmations that you ought to repeat 3 times a day. Everybody put 3 times a day. Affirmation number 1, I will develop my resources. Affirmation number 1, I will develop my resources. Write it in the group. The hand is a digital recorder for the mind. The eyes can see. The mind can see without the eyes, but the eyes can't see without the mind. Learn how to program your mind. Write it. Type it. I will develop my resources. Next affirmation, I will value my resources. When you don't value your resources, you don't develop it. And when you don't value your resources, you allow people to sell you cheap. I ain't cheap. I'm valuable. I ain't cheap. And I'm valuable. By the way, the opposite of cheap is not expensive. The opposite of cheap is valuable. Third one, affirmation. Developing my resources is my path to wealth. Developing my resources is my path to wealth. Now, by the way, commitment, right, is a form of developing resources. So this is a 9-part series. Listen, this ain't about you getting a return on your investment. This is about you getting a return on finish. It is impossible for anything that you finish to return unto you void. Finishing is completing something to the point that it can go on without your on-site supervision. Being in business is not a race. In a race, finishing is defined, or winning is defined by finishing first. But in a process like business, winning is defined by finishing, period. We came here to help you finish your race. We came here to help you finish your mission, to finish the impact that you were created for. So at the end of the day, I got one question, since powerful people ask powerful questions. Are you going to finish this race? Or will you leave it as some of the many things that you have left incomplete throughout time? Things that are left incomplete are usually left in disrepair. And what we do is we destroy resources. We destroy that which was given to us. So that brings us to E.R. Spalding. I'm going to turn it over to her. Let's everybody give a round of applause to her. Let's everybody give her some love. Let's everybody heart it up. Let's everybody put @E.R. Spalding. Let's everybody put it in the name. Let's give her a virtual applause, because she is getting ready to throw down. And so for the next 45 minutes, right, #45, you will be hearing from none other than Dr. E.R. Spalding, the Dean of the BlackCEO Business School, the founder of Black woman startup, and she will be now taking over as we pass the baton as she gets us to the next stage of our journey. This has been a recap of part 1 of 9 of the the Black CEO Revenue Champions Challenge. Hit the share button, hit the like button, and let's go. Over to you, Shay. Over to you, ER.
Well, I mean, I don't know. That was kind of like the perfect setup, when you're playing basketball and you got somebody that's ready to hit that 3-point shot, but you need it set up perfectly. This is what just happened this moment, guys. Listen, I want everyone to go over into the feed, and I get everyone is sending digital applause, and I receive it, and thank you so much, and we're having a good time. But I want you to write this down, because this is a definition that is critical for you to understand and get inside of the Black CEO family. So you heard Trevor come in and he did a recap, right? A recap of everything that we kind of talked about yesterday as it related to wealth. And so teaching is repeating until learning takes place. Write it down. Teaching is repeating until learning takes place. And because powerful people ask powerful questions, then we have to understand what learning is. So what is the definition of learning? Learning is hearing and doing until understanding takes place. As your trainers, as your teachers, it's our responsibility to repeat until learning takes place. So you will hear and you will ask yourself, well, why do they keep repeating everything over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? And we do that because teaching is repeating until learning takes place. Learning is hearing and doing until understanding takes place. See, that's a formula. You have to not only hear, but then from the hearing, you must also do something. So we hear something and do something, hear something and do something, hearing and doing until understanding takes place. And yes, there's another aspect. Well, what is understanding? Because get knowledge, get wisdom, but in all your gettings, get an understanding, because sometimes we'll forget what we learn, but we will never forget what we understand. See, we may not all the time understand what's happening to the skin if you put it over the fire, but we understand that if we put skin to fire, it's hot. And we'll never do that again. See, when you're a youth, you may not understand all of the mechanics of the things that happen to you, but once you understand the consequences of what happens, you will not do that action again. Teaching is repeating until learning takes place. Learning is hearing and doing until understanding takes place. We may forget what we learn, but we'll never forget what we understand. Write that down. And why is that important? Because we are here and we said that we were hashtag no broke CEOs, right? No broke CEOs. And what is not being a broke CEO all about? Because when there is information overload plus implementation deficit, that equals a broke CEO. Remember, learning is hearing and doing, hearing and doing. There is an implementation that has to take place in order for us not to be a broke CEO. So we talked about yesterday, if your bank account doesn't reflect how good you are, there is an underdeveloped resource. When the bill collectors call and you can't simply tell them or write a check or send them on automatic payment, there is a development deficit. Information overload plus implementation deficit equals a broke CEO. This is a formula. And yesterday we talked about that all success in life and business comes down to principles and formulas. Principles and formulas. All success in life comes down to principles and formulas. Now we're going to get back to principles because we're not going to leave that too soon. But again, all success in life comes down to principles and formulas. And it is imperative that as Black CEOs, we're not broke. Why is that? Because, hey, this is when you have a job, they are responsible for you. But when you start a business, you're responsible for them. When you have a job, they are responsible for you. When you start a business, you are responsible for them. So the question that I have for you is, who are you responsible for? Who are you responsible for? Now, some of you may want to go over into the feed and talk about who you're responsible for, but one, you have a responsibility to yourself. Second, you have a responsibility to your business. And third, you have a responsibility to those that you were called to serve. So if we're walking around here as broke CEOs, then we're not fulfilling on our responsibilities, because when you have a job, they're responsible for you. But when you start a business, you're responsible for them. So this is a hashtag Black CEO Revenue Champions Challenge kind of conversation, because we recognize that when you started a business, the other thing that you did was pick up the mantle and you told individuals, you made a declaration that you were going to be responsible for them. And responsibility requires there to be a level of ownership. There are some things that we have to own about ourselves. Because yes, there are some things that we want. Yes, there are some things that people that we love. And yes, there are some things that we have to know, and we understand that it's all not about the money, because the first manifestation of wealth is never money. The first manifestation of wealth is never money. Write it down. Teaching is repeating until learning takes place. Learning is hearing and doing until understanding takes place. We go back into the feed and we look to see who is actively learning. Because you can't be laissez-faire in this kind of conversation, because you have a responsibility to people other than yourself and for things greater than yourself. All success in life doesn't have a dollar sign associated with it. But you'll rarely see a successful person in life who's broke. So there are some things that we have to develop, those resources, those talents that we were talking about. Those talents have to be developed so that they manifest. But as soon as they manifest, they become another resource in order for us to develop, so that we get access to the more. Resources must be developed so we get access to the more. Life is just as important as the success that shows up in your bank account. The success that shows up in your life is just as important as the success that shows up in your bank account. My good friend Shay Brown utilizes that statement. He is the happy entrepreneur. So are we here to be happy entrepreneurs, or are we here to be broke CEOs? Because all success in life doesn't have a dollar sign associated with it. And your happiness and the happiness that you support other individuals in having is your responsibility. Not anyone else will say it's my responsibility. Go ahead and put that in the feed. Whose responsibility is it? It's my responsibility. And I would be hard pressed to sit here and to look at anyone who's looking in their bank account that doesn't reflect how good you are, to really say that you are happy about the entrepreneur that you have become. But we're here today because we're having a different type of conversation. We're getting ready to have a conversation that allows the success that we're looking for to show up, because we get that there is no secret to the success that we are looking for in our life or in our business. There are just simply formulas. There's no secret. It's just a formula. And all success in life comes down to principles and formulas. We talked about yesterday, there is no secret to water. It's simply a formula. 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. It's called H2O. And it doesn't matter what language you say it in. If it's aqua, if it's water, it's still H2O. There is no secret. And so when we think about the formulas that are needed and what we need to do inside of that, then we get down and understand that we must take a scientific, metaphysical, and action-oriented approach towards success. We must take a metaphysical, scientific, and action-oriented approach toward success. Those are the three things that are required. Go ahead and write that down. Thing number one is a scientific approach. The second is a metaphysical approach. And the third is an action-oriented approach. See, there are going to be people that are popping in after you, and so they're looking for those digital trailers in order to support them in their learning. And they're going to have to do the same thing, but learning is hearing and doing until understanding takes place. So go ahead. What are the three things that are required in order for us to move towards success? We have to have a scientific approach. We must know the formula. We must have a metaphysical approach, and we must have an action-oriented approach. And all three of those things must be included. Other than that, we will not see the success that we're looking for. So are we ready to dive in? Say, we have individuals going over into the feed? Absolutely. We've got a thumbs up here. So let's get down to today's training. So a scientific approach means that we must know the formula, right? We talked about the formula to water. That is H2O. What is the formula to collaboration? 1 and 1. I know some of you guys are going to say 1 plus 1, but no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about collaboration. 1 and 1 equals 11. Hashtag 11. That is the formula for collaboration. Now, the other approach is having a metaphysical approach. And as we have this metaphysical approach, we must understand and meditate on the spiritual principles that govern success. If you are moving in life and your life is not rooted and grounded in principle, there is something that I am requesting that you take a look at. Because having a metaphysical approach means that you're not leaning to your own understanding, that you are meditating on the spiritual principles that govern success. There are all types of principles. You have some business principles, right? You have physical principles that are there. What are some of those physical principles? i.e. gravity. What goes up must come down. And we all know that, but it is also contextualized. So when we talk about gravity, it only operates in this context called Earth. Because if we were in another location, right, called Mars, then there's a different contextual framework that gravity operates in. And if there is not some other force that is there, gravity works the same way for everybody, regardless of who you are. You can be light as a feather and weigh 15 pounds and gravity will still apply to you. If you jump off of a chair, you will hit the floor. So when we think about the spiritual principles that govern success, there are some keys that we can begin to unlock if we get in sync with the spiritual principles that guide what it is that we are doing. And the last, again, those elements that we need in order to unlock this success, we must be action-oriented, which means you got to get up off your bum, right? We got to get up and begin to do some things. What is learning, hearing, and doing until understanding takes place? What is it hearing and doing until understanding takes place? So yes, we can meditate. We can hear the word of God. We can hear ourselves. We can hear the universe talking to us. But guess what? When you get up from that metaphysical space, when you get up from meditating, there is still some action that is going to be required, and you are the only one that can do that action. So what are the 3 elements that are needed in order to get to success? You must have a scientific approach, meaning that you must know the formula that's going to get you there. Once you know the formula, you can begin to meditate on what that formula looks like inside of your life, because that is what's going to govern success. And then you have to have an action-oriented approach, which allows you to get up and get moving. Because we can't take shortcuts. We have to use the principles. We can't take shortcuts. We must use the principles. because there's no shortcut to success. Everybody has got to take the stairs. Some of us, see, we've been trying to leapfrog over things. We've been trying to move it along and take the escalator. Some of us have been trying to be cute and smart and take the elevator. But guess what? There are no shortcuts to success. You've got to take the stairs. Everyone has got to do the same thing. Put one foot in front of the other foot. We have to do the same thing with studying and learning what the formulas are. We have to take the same approach with meditating on these spiritual principles, and then each and everybody has to get up on their own and take the necessary and appropriate action, and combining all three of those things together will get you to where we're going, because we can't cheat success. You know, there are a lot of individuals that have a lot of sayings out there, fake it till you make it. And, you know, in part that could work for some individuals. But see, this is not about fakeration. This is about really doing and understanding what is required in order to get you the success that you were looking for, because there is no secret. When someone begins to say the number one secret to making 6 figures in 60 days, I would turn away from that, because there is no secret. There is just simply a formula, and not you, nor I, nor Shay, nor Trevor, nor Barrett, nor Belton, nor Vanessa, nor Dakisha. None of us have the luxury of cheating success, because the only one that you cheat is you. And when you have a job, they are responsible for you. But when you start a business, you are responsible for them. And if you don't have the foundations that are necessary and required in order for you to achieve the success, then you fall short on the responsibility that you have. Again, just because it's a trend doesn't make it the truth. Just because it's a trend doesn't make it the truth. Again, 6 figures in 60 days, right? We have this 30-day challenge to increase your email list by 300,000 people. When you start hearing things like that, just because it's a trend doesn't make it the truth. We are getting down to the truth of the matter, the heart of the matter. What are the principles that are going to govern your success? Because again, the definition of insanity is what? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. We all understand that, but guess what? This is the replay. This is Insanity 2.0, and it's doing the same thing as everybody else and expecting a different result. Doing the same thing as everybody else and expecting a different result. You know, when I was in the workplace and I worked, you know, that 9 to 5, I would get up and I would get in my car and I would get on the expressway and I would do the same commute as everybody else. And I would be frustrated out of my mind because it would be bumper to bumper traffic. Now, is the traffic wrong? Or am I insane 2.0 because I'm doing the same thing as everybody else who is trying to get to work in the same time frame, the same time period, and we're all sitting on the same road, highly frustrated, and talking about the other person who's exhibiting road rage while we're exhibiting road rage ourselves. We're getting on the same road, locked in the same traffic, going to the same place. That's Insanity 2.0, doing the same thing as everybody else and expecting a different result. So say this with me. This is an affirmation. I must do something different to create a reality I've never experienced. I must do something different to create a reality I've never experienced. Write that down. I must do something different to create a reality I've never experienced. You see, when I was on that road, when I was heading in the same direction, when I was frustrated that I was in the car an hour and a half just to get to one destination and then to turn around and be in the car for 2 hours, do you realize that was 3.5 hours of my life each day that I could not get back? And I had to ask myself a simple question. What is it that I can do differently to create create a reality that I've never experienced. See, curiosity is the birthplace of insight. And so I had to get curious. Is this for me? And so I shifted and I began to look and do things differently so that I could create a reality that I have never experienced. You see, because we don't underachieve because we don't know our possibility. We underachieve because our habits hold us hostage to a future that we were never meant to live. We don't underachieve because we don't know our possibility. We underachieve because our habits hold us hostage to a future we were never meant to live. You see, I was habitually doing the same thing over and over and over again. I had gotten and developed this habit that I must what? Go to school, get good grades, get a good job. I had been conditioned for that. And so my habit stated that I got to get up every morning at 6 a.m. to get in my car by 6:45 to hit the road, to be on the road for an hour and a half in order to sit in a cubicle in an office at 9 a.m. See, I had built up that habit listening to somebody else because I wasn't meditating on the spiritual principles that govern my success. I was moving off of the principles that govern somebody else's success. See, I was a contributor in their world versus developing the resource and the talent and the skill that I have been given and allowing someone else to be responsible for me, because when you have a job, they're responsible for you. But when you start a business, you're responsible for them. So we don't underachieve because we don't know our possibility. What was available to me? There were a world of possibilities out there. Infinite. Just as quickly as you have an idea, that's a possibility. And ideas come thousands and thousands and thousands of times per day. But we don't underachieve because we don't know our possibility. We underachieve because our habits are holding us hostage to a future that we were never meant to live. I had been habitualized in somebody else's life that they were meant to live, and I had to break that habit. So we're here today to ask a simple question. Are you ready for a new reality? Are you ready for a new reality? And if we're here because powerful people ask powerful questions, then the question that you must ask yourself is, what will it take to get to this new reality? What will it take to get to this new reality? Because doing the same thing as everybody else and expecting a different result is insanity 2.0. We've said this before, and we're going to say it again, and we're going to keep saying it because teaching is repeating until learning takes place. I must finish. And we have to have that in our minds before the race even gets started. I must finish. Because if you don't make it, it's because you quit, not because you weren't qualified. We were all given that talent, and we've taken that time to carefully curate our skill set. We've taken those talents and we've trained with them over and over and over again. And for many of us, that first manifestation of wealth equals skill. We have been skilled in the art of sales. We have been skilled in the art of operations. We have been skilled in marketing and branding. We have been skilled in account financial management. We have been skilled in the art of storytelling. We have taken those talents that were natural and innate to each and every one of us, and we've been training with them. And we have that manifestation of skill. But sometimes what we're lacking is because no one told us that we had to commit to finishing before we got started. Results take as long as results take. And sometimes we find ourselves in that comparison bubble where we're looking at other individuals and looking at what we perceive to be their successes in life. And we get sidetracked, and instead of continuing to develop our resources, we turn our attention and our sights to something else, the next new shiny ball that is being thrown up in the air. And what does that look like? That means we're buying program after program. We're jumping from coach to coach, and we're finding it because, you know, no one ever told us that coaches could be Pinocchio too. Papa Geppetto, he looked at Pinocchio and he was trying to create a real live boy. But at the end of the story, it was never about Papa Geppetto. It was about Pinocchio realizing and manifesting the resource that he had available to him. See, we have to be committed before we start. And that is the only way that we are going to make it to the finish line, because if you don't make it, it's because you quit, not because you're not qualified. And we have to know the difference between a return on investment and a return on finish. A return on investment versus a return on finish. See, this revenue, this BlackCEO revenue challenge is all about making sure that you return on finish. You are not imbued with a purpose not to fulfill on it. Because the Creator knew that there was something inside of you where you could rest on your shoulders the responsibility of others. That's why you started a business. Because with the talents that you had, that you cultivated and trained for and developed that skill, that manifestation in and of itself showed that you were uniquely qualified, that you were worthy to be the person to be responsible for another. But your journey was not over. Your journey was not over. It was just getting started. And if we do not commit to finishing, then it's over before it ever got started, because we don't underachieve. Or if we underachieve, it's because we didn't commit to finish. So say this with me. This is an affirmation. Make sure you write this down. It's impossible for anything I finish to return unto me void. It's impossible for anything I finish to return unto me void. Affirmation, write it down. It's impossible for anything I finish to return unto me void. If you finish that evergreen prospecting sequence, it is impossible for it to return unto you void. If you finish your email campaign, it is impossible for it to return unto you void. If you make the 100 sales calls, it is impossible for it to return unto you void. It's impossible for anything I finish to return unto me void. So again, the question becomes, what will it take in order to get this hashtag new reality? Go ahead and ask the question, what will it take? What will it take? Write that in the feed. What will it take? Because we're getting ready to explain what it will take. And that is the PFA neuropathic success system. Again, the neuropathic success system. All success in life comes down to principles and formulas. So here we go. So what is the PFA neuropathic success system? So one, we have principles, formulas, and affirmation. Now, throughout this training, you've been hearing us utilize some of these words. Oh, that's a principle. That's a formula. This is an affirmation. Write that down. And so for us, teaching is repeating until learning takes place. Hearing Learning is hearing and doing until understanding takes place. So now we're getting ready to go into the understanding of what those things are. So when you begin to segment your notes, and as you're listening to this training, as you're going back and watching the replay, as you are looking at all of the other digital notes, we want to make sure that we're beginning to segment our notes using the PFA neuropathic success system. So in one column, you're going to have principles. So anytime you hear us say that is a principle, it is either a business principle, a sales principle, a spiritual principle. You want to make sure that you write that down. If you hear us say that this is a formula, you want to make sure that you write that down, because all success in life comes down to principles and formulas, right? We said that information overload plus implementation deficit equals what? A broke CEO. That's a formula. Write it down. And then we have affirmations that are in there, and we're going to begin to talk about what that is. Trevor gave 3 affirmations. I will value my resources. That was one of the affirmations. You'll hear us say every time, 7 days a week. Repeat this 7 times a day for 7 days a week. That is an affirmation. All of those things are important, because what we are doing is we are breaking out of those whole old habits, because we don't underachieve. We underachieve because our old habits are holding us hostage to a future we were never meant to live. So if we don't rewire the habits that we formulated over our life, we're never going to be able to get the success, because that old habit will keep locking us back to inactivities that will never produce the desired result. If I keep getting up, hopping into a car, going to a 9 to 5, sitting and wasting 3 hours of my life, never having the ability to develop the resources that I have, I'm locking myself into some habitual behavior that will produce a future I was never meant to live. And it's difficult. It can be hard. I understand that, because people have been telling you your entire life. They have been programming into you your entire life that this is the way we become successful. We have been hearing individuals say over and 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 over again that generational wealth is money that you pass down from one person to another. But if we don't break the habit, if we don't break those neuropathic pathways that have solidified and locked into our minds, then we will never see generational wealth. And if you want to check the facts, go back to your parents and see if they had wealth to pass down to you. Go back to your grandparents and see if they had wealth to pass down to you. And you can trade it all the way back, and we still have not gotten this generational wealth that we've been talking about for 400 years. And utilize in our decision-making process. Principles that you memorize and never utilize will never get you anywhere. Remember, we can't choose success. We have to also have an action-oriented approach to success. So principles that you just memorize, right? Wealth is not the first manifestation of wealth. Principle. Money is not the first manifestation of wealth. If we just memorize that statement and regurgitate it, but we don't utilize it and put it into action, we will never get the results that we're looking for. But the principles that we have and we give to you, they are for you to memorize and utilize in your decision-making process. So if we understand that money is not the first manifestation of wealth, then in our decision-making process, when we begin to see skill show up as a manifestation, we know that we're on the right track. So keep moving. And then when we take that skill and that skill is then developed into respect, there are going to be some people that are looking at you and saying, but you don't have money in your bank account. You don't have money in your bank account. And you may think that as an opportunity to go and bury the skill that you just manifested. And you don't believe that having the respect of your peers and those that you were called to serve, you be able to utilize that in your decision-making process, and then you'll turn around and you'll bury that. And it will end right there because you're not utilizing the principle in your decision-making process. Principles are for memorization and they are for utilization. To what end? To support us in our decision-making process. So when you hear someone come up to you, when your parents walk up to you and say, well, you don't have the money, and when your friends are looking at you because your bank account doesn't at this point reflect who you really are, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It just has not happened yet. But when other people come up to you, and I know they do, why? Because it happened to me. It's happened to Trevor. When he gives the story about how he went home one day and all of his belongings were sitting out on the front lawn. Imagine if he had quit because he did not make a determination that he was going to have a return on finish. See, principles that we memorize and utilize in our decision-making process are critical because when you go back to the principle that money is not the first manifestation of wealth, then that helps you make the decision to keep moving forward. And you can ask yourself the question, what will it take? It will take me continuing to develop my resources, continuing to invest in myself, meaning that I have made a commitment to develop my resources. That is what it will take in order for you to ultimately manifest that resource called money. So principles are what we memorize and utilize, and they help us, they inform our decision-making process. Now, what are formulas? Formulas help us organize and utilize our resources. Formulas help us organize and utilize our resources. Again, we've been giving formulas throughout this entire training. That just helps us organize the information that we've been given. We use formulas every day. We thought that we were just supposed to be using formulas in school. But we utilize them in the real world as well. And then what are these affirmations that we have been talking about? Affirmations are a repetitious process used to reprogram the mind. Affirmations are a repetitious process used to reprogram the mind. Why is reprogramming the mind important? Because we built up these neuropathic systems that produce habits that do not serve us. And so affirmations allow us to begin to unravel those neuropathic synapses that have been hardwired into our brain in order to begin to develop more. Just because it's a trend doesn't make it the truth. So I'm getting ready to break down a trend that individuals have been stating. It takes 21 days to break an old habit. I'm here to say that's bullcrap. What happened is someone thought that it was a good slogan, and as a marketing ploy, they said that in 21 days, if you do something for 21 days, you will break a habit. No, that is the beginning. That is the beginning of the dendrites beginning to formulate in your mind to begin to say, okay, I want to connect something here. So in 21 days, you will not change the habit. It requires it to be over and over and over again. And the other little known secret that they tell us is that you will break a habit. You never break habits that are formalized. They are hardwired into your brain. You can overwrite them. You can override them. Which is why your affirmations are those things that you have to repeat over and over and over again, 7 times a day, 7 days a week. But it doesn't stop, because when that 7th day is over, guess what? The clock resets 7 times a day, 7 days a week, and over and over and over and over and over again. Because you will never break a habit that's already been hardwired, but you can override it by using these affirmations and repeating them over and over and over again, because they support in reprogramming our mind. What else are affirmations? Affirmations are the auditory process used to reprogram our mind. So the more that we hear them, remember, we hear what is learning, hearing, and doing. So the more that we say them, the more that we program our mind. And affirmations are also the mnemonic device that's used to help us remember complex principles. They are the mnemonic devices that help us remember complex principles. We utilize these things in school, right? We heard that mnemonic device, I before E, except after C. Because when we were children, it was complex when we were just learning how to spell and how to put those letters together. But those mnemonic devices, which are also affirmations, help us to remember these complex principles. So when we are looking for the pathway to success, the PFA principles, formulas, and affirmations are what we utilize in order to get the success that we're looking for. So I know we've given a lot of information today. Right? And I know a lot of you are saying, oh, that's enough, Dean Spalding. And so I'm going to let you off the hook right now, because we're going to be here. We are here for 9 days. We've got how many more to go? We've got 7 more to go. But you can come back inside of BlackCEO5.com and you can listen to this over and over and over again, because teaching is repeating until learning takes place. Learning is hearing and doing until understanding takes place. You may forget what you learn, but you'll never forget what you understand. So in all of your get and understanding, there is no secret to the success that you're looking for in your life or in your business. The PFA neuropathic success system, utilizing the principles, the formulas, and the affirmations, are what's going to be required to begin to override those old habits so that you don't fall victim to underachieving in life, because you have chosen to finish before you got started. And so right now I'm going to wrap up, and I'm going to lob it back over to none other than Trevor Otts to see if there are some closing comments.
Mic check, Trevor. We don't hear you. We can see you, but we don't hear you, my man.
Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so one, let's just give Dean Spalding a round of applause, a digital applause. Let's heart it up, let's like it up. But one of the ways to really show your appreciation to a speaker is when you share their message of impact to the rest of the world. So what I want everybody to do first is I want you to hit the share button, and I want you to come back into the comment section, and I want you to put at ER Spalding, I shared. At ER Spalding, I shared. So put it in the comment section. Go with the Black CEO Tribe. Put I shared. Why? Because when a speaker, a teacher, a trainer takes the stage, they deliver for impact. And if they've impacted you, hit the share button. That being said, some of you now you get it. You're like, I got to develop my resources. By the way, you want to be here tomorrow morning because part 3, we're going to get down. That being said, you want to know, how do you continue with this? You want to know, okay, now what do I need to do? What is my next step to develop my resources? And for that, I'm going to turn it over to none other than the happy entrepreneur, the sales cardiologist, none other than the man himself, Che Brown. Over to you, Dr. Che Brown.
Oh, thanks a lot. You know, I want to give it up for Dean Spalding. That was just amazing. That was incredible. I was taking notes. For everyone out there that's giving her a heart, that's giving her a like, you got to give it up. And one of the things we walked away with is got to understand our P, which is our PSA. We got to remember PSA. Hope I got that right.
No, it's PFA. It's principle.
See, I'm not perfect either. Don't y'all just love that? PFA. That's one of the reasons why we have everyone is helping each other while we're doing multiple things. Here's what I know. You're like me, right? You're sitting there, you're taking notes, you think you have it all, and guess what? I didn't have it all. I mean, I listen to this, I watch this, I get to hang out with Spalding, but until I'm in the conversation on a daily basis, until I'm a student, until I'm in the front room, then those ideas that I hear, they don't become top of mind to me. I can't really implement them. So the question becomes, how do I stay in this type of conversation? The question becomes, if the opposite of wealth is not poor, if the opposite of wealth is underdeveloped resources, then the question becomes, how do I develop my resources? I think it's a reasonable question. I think this is a reasonable time. So let me just share with you. For some of you,
and Shay, my check. I think we're seeing ER on the screen and not you.
Okay. Right. I had always up there. Let me change this around. Let me bring it to me. There we go. All right. For those that are out there right now, here's what you can do. If you're listening right now, you say, you know what? I was watching the presentation. I was listening to none other than Spalding. And, you know, I like how she was able to represent what she was saying. Or I have a business. I need to make sure I have a landing page. Or I have a business. I need to make sure that I have my marketing and my branding truly represent what people think, what people feel about my brand, and I'm able to communicate my message to my target audience so that I can better serve the people that I'm actually called to serve. And so it's time for you not just to have a graphics person, but you really are looking to bring on a design team. You're really looking to bring on someone that can really extend your message. Here's what I like to do. I like for you to take a baby step. And what does a baby step look like? What does it feel like? Well, baby step looks like, tell you what, you know, you have some skin in the game. We have some skin in the game. And one of the things we've launched recently is the BlackCEO Customized Graphics Club. And it allows us to do two things. One, allows us to take the baby step, right? Allows you to come aboard and not test the service, because that's not what we're doing, but be able to enjoy the value that we've been able to give to so many other clients. That's pretty cool. And then it allows us to see if you're a good fit for us. So you get to come aboard and have 30 days, so you can pay for 30 days and then have 30 days. Look, that's just amazing by itself. I don't have time to get into the details, but you might be looking and saying, I need this. I need this to extend my business. I need to extend my brand. Right now, even my webinar shit, I got to get people to them. Even my messaging that I'm sending out. Here's what to do. Just text me. I'm going to give you a number to text. You're going to just text this number. The number to text is 202-270-1662. Now, I'm going to give you the number, and you can text it. You text 202-270-1662. Now, you're texting that number, and you're writing these words. You're writing these words, BlackCEO Customized Graphics Club. Now,
and Shay, we're going to interrupt you. Yeah. Both ER and I are still seeing her on the screen, so I don't know if you hit the forward button. So you've been talking, so you didn't move it over.
There we go. Now they should be able to see me. I see what I did. We had us in preview mode. Preview mode. Here's what you do. Hopefully you can see me. If you can see me, just say Shay, we can see you. Like look right below the video and just say Shay, we can see you. You can hear me, but you couldn't see me. You can see me now. Here's what I want you to do. You're going to send a text to this number, which is 202-270-1662. Again, 202-270-1662. You're going to text the word BlackCEO Customized. That means it's for you. Customize, that means it's special, Graphics Club. www.BlackCEO Customize Graphics Club. Then you put that in the text. Put your first name, put your last name, put your best contact number, and we're going to reach out to you. Someone from my office is going to reach directly out to you, and let's just have a conversation. Let's just have a conversation. For everyone out there right now that's ready to really make this your year, that's really ready to develop your resources. You see it there. You can see it right to the left-hand side. The opposite of wealth is not poor. The opposite of wealth is underdeveloped resources. We show up for one reason only, and that is to bring you the resources that you need so you can execute the vision for yourself, the vision for your loved ones, and the vision for the people you were called to serve. So go ahead and text right now, BlackCEO Customize Graphics. You got to use that code. If I don't see that in there, if that's not part of the text, well, there's going to be a problem. I'm going to tell you that now. But put your first name, put your last name, put your best contact number, and at least start the conversation. Sounds good for you? I love it. Shay, I buy a month, I get a month. We all got skin in the game. Love it. Number two, some of you are like, Shay, I got that down. I have my brand, I have my marketing, I have my design team, I have a graphics person, I have a topographer. If you don't know what that is, then you want to text me earlier, right? I have all that, but I'm hearing these principles. I'm hearing these formulas. I'm hearing these affirmations. I'm hearing, there's some things that I need to do for myself, for my assistant, for my business development person, for my team, for my support staff. We need a place that we can go to, and I'll use what Fubu used to say, that's for us, by us. Shay, that's where I need to be. And I need it in a way that I don't have to fly everyone there. Got it. I need it in a way that can fit into our schedule. Got it. But I also need something that can be like a trainer. I'm ready to develop my resources. I'm ready to be a BlackCEO that is paid, not only paid, that is writing a check. BlackCEO was created to help BlackCEOs create business-based wealth so that we could fund the causes that we believe in through a collaborative effort. So you now have a responsibility to write a check to your community, to write a check to your family members, to write a check to folks that you're called to serve to help make this place better. So you got to come to a school. And truthfully, where would I send you? It's for us, by us, for BlackCEOs, by BlackCEOs. Yeah. Where would I send you? I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. I want you to send me a text personally, and I'm going to share with you at least BlackCEO Business School. BlackCEO Business School. Now, if you're hearing it for the very first time, congratulations. For those that know what it's like, well, you're like, well, Shay, just give me one inference. I don't have time. Wish I had more time, but just one inference. One cool thing about it is you get a chance to be taught, and it's the only place that our founder of BlackCEO, Trevor Otts, really teaches. So you want to be a part of that master session. But then you have the dean herself, who you got a chance to hear from today, that's also teaching. And there's a host of other professors that are there. It's incredible. You at least want the information. You want to know what it's like. You're looking around right now and said, Shay, I don't just need another coaching program. And Shay, I don't just need to go to another event. I need to be in the school that's teaching me how to develop my resources. The opposite of wealth is not poor. The opposite of wealth is underdeveloped resources. So it only asks one question. How are you going to develop your resources so you can execute the vision you have for the people you were called to serve? It makes sense, and we're going to make it make sense. Like that, yeah. It's going to make sense, and it's going to make sense. So have the conversation. Here's what you do. You're going to text this number. The number you're going to text is 202-270-1662. Again, 202-270-1662. When you text that number, make sure that you put in there BlackCEO Business School, because I'm going to make sure you get the information that's special for you, who's listening right now, who's watching right now, who's participating right now. So you're going to enter BlackCEO Business School. Now, look, do me a favor. Put your first name so we know who you are. Add your last name as well. Add your last name, because there's more than one Yolanda, okay? There's more than one Kim. So put your last name. Put your best contact number so we can reach out to you, or at least send you information. Some of you want us to send it via text. And include your best email as well. So just in case some of you still like email, I get it. I'm like that from time to time. So we have all the information. We can get it to you. with that being said, thanks a lot for joining. Thanks for being here. I'm going to pass it back over to none other than the Trevor Otts. Let me make sure I click and bring us on here. But I'm looking forward to connecting with you. Let me give you the number one more time, because there's two options, and I don't want to confuse you, but this is not for everybody. Okay, for some of you, both of this like, I'm all in, Shay. Some of you are like, Shay, I just need to get all my stuff done. Look, let's just have a conversation. I feel you. I'm glad you're here. The fact that you're here says so much about you. You keep tuning in. You keep being here. You keep showing up, and I promise you, your best is going to happen. It's going to happen faster with less effort, working together in a collaborative environment. Here's what to do. Here are the two numbers. The one number to text is 202-270-1662. Some of you are texting BlackCEO customized graphics because you're like, look, I like that. Let me get my 30 days. Nah, some of you, that's not what you're about. You're like, Shay, truthfully, it's my time. And this is something that I've been meaning to do. I just didn't have, well, the resources. Well, congratulations. I think Maya Angelou says when you know better, you do better. Well, the resources are now here, so we can take that off the table. And you're doing that right now. You're texting that. Others of you are on the other side. Some of you are doing both. I get it. But some of you on the other side, you're like, no, I just need a place to be in. I need a school. I need to train myself. I need to train my team. I need to train my assistant. I need to train my collaborative partners. I need to train my community. I need the resource. I need to develop these resources now. When? Now. So what are you going to do? You're going to text the number 202-270-1662. Text BlackCEO Business School, if that's for you. Text BlackCEO Customized Graphics, if that's for you. Some of you text both of those and include your first name, include your last name, include your best contact number, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you. With that being said, Trevor, I'm going to turn it back over to you, my man.
Mic check, mic check.
We hear you loud and clear, and they can see all three of us loud and clear.
All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing all wrapped up. This has been part 2 of 9. I want everybody to go over to the Private, the Elusive, the exclusive Facebook group. There is no other group like it. You can go to BlackCEOTribe.com and put your number one takeaway for the day. You know how we do it in BlackCEO, and I'm getting ready to do it right now. Let me just go over to the conference line. Whenever we in the BlackCEO conference call, wherever we in the BlackCEO event, we say our first name, we say our last name, and we say the magic words. What's those magic words? BlackCEO out, right? And so what's going to happen is in a few seconds, Shay is going to unmute the lines, right? He's going to unmute all the lines, right? Or actually, maybe I'll unmute the lines.
Yeah, you better unmute.
And when I unmute the lines, here's what everybody's going to say. You're going to say your first name. You're going to say where you're from, and you're going to say the words BlackCEO out. At the same time, you're going to post it into the group, the private, the elusive, the exclusive Facebook group. There's no other group like it on the planet. What group is that? BlackCEO. How do you get there? BlackCEOTribe.com. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to post your first name. You're going to post your where you're from. And then you're going to tell us, you're going to just write BlackCEO out. You're going to just write BlackCEO. Why? Because we don't sing solos here. We sing as part of the choir of Black CEOs impacting, changing the world through the development of their resources. As with every call, every broadcast, we always allow for the opportunity for those who want to be directly mentored, as in one-on-one mentorship by myself and Shay and ER, part of our Black CEO Masters League. If that's you and you're serious, you can text us at 202-270-1662, 202-270-1662. That being said, let's get ready to do the countdown. When I do the countdown, everybody get ready. You'll holler out where you're from, your first name, where you're from, and you say BlackCEO out. My name is Trevor Otts. What? National Harbor. What? BlackCEO out. And you will not just say it, but you'll also type it on the countdown. 5, 4, see you tomorrow. 3, don't be late. 2, and check the group check the Facebook group to get a hold of some of the slides. 1.
Yeah, just telling them.
All right, let's
sit down. BlackCEO out.
BlackCEO, Los Angeles, BlackCEO out.
Harbor, Maryland, BlackCEO out.
Shay Brown, Washington, D.C., BlackCEO out. Peace.
The conference is now completed. Goodbye.
Okay, let me close my Skype. Okay, Skype's closed. NDI is closed.
You need to close wire. You need to save Wirecast, and then you need to close it.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna save it. Okay, let me delete. Hold on, I gotta cut the feed off. Let me do that.